Hello, we are now live on YouTube.
Very good.
Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another episode of Global Business. I am Dr. Neva Alexander. It's the first time that you are seeing me, and I like to call myself a global leadership strategist, international women's connector, because I connect women all over the globe. And if I haven't met you yet, I will. All right. So, within the term global leadership strategist, basically putting leaders on a platform, whether you're a business leader, political leader, whatever leader, putting you on a platform to share your thoughts, your ideas, your business. And just like always, I have another phenomenal guest. And she is coming to us from Jamaica. She's an attorney Sophia Bryan, and she's definitely going to introduce herself. So let's dive right into it. Attorney Sophia Bryan, my attorney. Welcome.
Ooh, thank you for having me, Dr. Nevo. So I'm Sophia Bryan. I am the principal attorney at the Law Boss firm based in Kingston, Jamaica. And our mission is to help Jamaicans at home and in the diaspora and persons that want to do business in Jamaica build and preserve their legacy through real estate primarily, as well as estate planning.
Yes. And we hear these, when you come to real estate, you hear the pros and the cons, no matter where you are in the world. And we're going to look into the case of Jamaica today. So, you know, Sophia, for entrepreneurs in the diaspora, members looking to invest in Jamaica real estate market, what are the most promising areas do you see right now? And the legal consideration that they should be aware of before making a move, in real estate in Jamaica.
Dr. Nevo?
I'm here. I
Okay,
don't know if you
great.
heard the
Okay.
question. Yeah.
So in terms of legal considerations and promises in the market, so a lot of persons who are probably looking to vacation or to return home at some point, properties in the North Coast are the most promising right now in terms of first world appeal. However, bear in mind that it also comes with first world prices. So there So yes, our market is very competitive compared to the US and other countries across the globe. But for that first world aesthetic and appeal, our prices are up there as well. So you can look to spend anywhere between 800,000 to $1 million US and above, depending on the type of aesthetic you're going after and the lifestyle. If you want a property that is beachfront, if you want something that is more community centered, there is something to cater to everybody's needs in that regard. In addition to the North Coast, so your typical Westmoreland, St. Anne, Montego Bay, St. Thomas, which is closer to the Norman Manley International Airport, that area is becoming a lot more attractive now. So if persons are looking west, it's a good idea to consider buying properties and possibly, doing a bit of construction on your own if you have the energy for that, because that's probably where you get the best bang for your buck right now.
So, I could hear a few, thoughts and questions like, comments. They'll be like, whoa, that's expensive for some individuals. Some individuals, oh, okay, that's reasonable. But some might be, or they might not be in the market for, the 800 thousand and above range. Are they able to find properties for less within, the regions that you mentioned?
Absolutely. So if you are not particular about something being new, but you still want to get that maybe beachfront access or the communal settings, you definitely can find properties that are on the market for sale for, a lot less than a million. But I think a lot of persons are looking, they want that resort style. If you don't need a resort style type of setup, but you still want to, that community gated, private and secure, you can still get that for less money, of course.
Mhm. And what do you think about land purchasing? Because what if they figure, um, it's just better to get land and build? What are your thoughts? And those are usually the individuals that are planning to return or, having more grounds. What are your thoughts on that, especially finding land in that
Mhm.
area, in those
I
areas?
really do think that this is a great time for that. So in Jamaica, we have a lot of land that is what's called unregistered. So it would have been land that was passed on for many generations, coming from that colonial past. And so if somebody is willing to go through the processes to get a proper or a modern title for that land, you'll be in a better position to negotiate a better rate. So I actually have a lot of expats who are looking into those types of opportunities. All the titling for the property may not be modern, but because the owners don't want to do the heavy lift of going through that process, they're willing to give up the land for a lot less money. And if you have an attorney by your side to get the necessary paperwork, to get the necessary survey diagrams done, and to submit the applications on your behalf to secure a proper title, that's a great way to actually get something very affordable. The other thing is, people may not be listing their land for sale, but if you notice that somebody is willing to negotiate a better rate, you can actually process that paperwork on your behalf.
All right, so I don't know if there's we're having a little technical issues, but we are still here.
A little bit
So,
slow, the market.
okay, we were having some glitch, but I see that you're back. Um,
Oh, okay.
s- yeah. All right. But let's move on. So my next, question to you is navigating the legal structure for business. Because one thing you talk about, you do deal with real estate, but there's some with the business opportunities, setting up the entrepreneurs or the small business, or just spreading their wings, and especially, because business is an asset. So for someone considering starting business or expanding into Jamaica, what legal structures and registration process should they know about, and how do these impact long-term sustainability and protection?
Mm-hmm. All right. So, in term for some people that are considering starting business in Jamaica, so we do have a fairly robust legal system, and so you can actually get an LLC registered to reduce your liability. But in addition to that, it's important that you have somebody by your side that is able to assess the legal landscape on your behalf. One of the things that our government is working on is where persons can be anywhere in the world and still get things done. But the reality is, you need somebody on the ground to actually assist you. So even things like doing your title searches, doing your research about what's happening in the market, you need somebody that's actually on the ground based in Jamaica to be able to do all of those things for you. Just like in the States, having an LLC does give you that legal protection from liability. And yes, you can stay where you are and get it done, but you do need somebody on the ground here in Jamaica to actually process that paperwork on your behalf.
Okay. And what do you say to the people that think that What would your advice be to them? Because I could tell you from my experience, because I'm always that I have an entrepreneurial mindset. So, setting up things and, yeah, right now I'm actually recording from one of my business display fixtures, right? And I know it's not easy to go get stuff. You have to stand in line and, it's frustrating. It's great when you have individuals who have the knowledge and the
Yeah.
know-how. So what would you say to someone to think I can do everything on my own? What would you
Mhm.
say?
Most people will not have the patience to deal with some of the entities in Jamaica, unfortunately. Even I myself, if I have to handle any case personally, sometimes it can be a frustrating process to deal with the bureaucracy that exists in some of the entities. So I do not recommend doing it yourself. The time that it would take you to figure out how to navigate some of these agencies, it would be better you had just paid someone to do the thing for you. There are a few things though that you have to do personally, like if you need a police report or you're trying to get a tax registration number, those are the very few things that you would need to go and do personally. But then other things, once you give somebody an authorization letter, or in some cases, a power of attorney to deal with those issues specifically, you would be much better served doing that rather than exhausting yourself with the bureaucracy that exists here. And I know usually when people are traveling, they have a very tight schedule. So the time that it would take you to do that, you could be spending that with your family or even exploring the environment rather than being stuck in a line at the tax office or company's office or wherever.
For sure, for sure. And for those that's the first time you are seeing me or you join me, returning and watching these videos. Again, I'm Dr. Neva, and one of the things that we do here, we bring superstars to the forefront. Those experts, just giving individuals visibility. And one of the things that we're known for, we're the home of the International Women's Conference. And the next one will be next year again at Hofstra University. So let's continue on, Sophia. The policy, protection, and diaspora, some may say diaspora. What protection or policy shifts are in place, or on the horizon? What are some of the things they should look out for? What make now and, exceptionally strategic time for diaspora engagement in Jamaica business and real estate ventures?
All right, I think this is a fantastic time because now the government of Jamaica is actually investing in those processes. So we have the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce, and we also have a changing legal landscape. So before, it was very difficult for persons to figure out how to establish a trust. Now we have trust legislation in Jamaica. So if you want to protect your assets in using the vehicle of a trust, you have the option to do that now. And so if you want to maintain that level basis, you have the option to use that tool. And of course, my law firm assists persons with doing that. There are a lot of legal nuances in Jamaica, and so a trust that's applicable in another jurisdiction may not necessarily be applicable here. The other thing is that there's a lot of encouragement since to come in and set up businesses. So there are incentives from the government of Jamaica for certain businesses. And then, of course, the immigration process for persons who are thinking about maybe becoming a citizen of Jamaica, or maybe you want to work and do business here. The immigration process is a lot smoother and easier for persons. And agencies like the Jamaica Promotions, that's JAMPRO, they offer a lot of support to persons who want to come to Jamaica and do business and connect them with whether it's realtors, legal experts who have built relationships with them. So you know you're going to be pointed to the right resources. So the government is really doing a lot to position itself to support persons that want to come here. It's just that the formalities, you still have to get somebody to do that on your own. But in terms of the connections that will support you, whether it's to find the ideal workspace, find a space for your restaurant, for example, there's a lot of support to get that. So this really is a great time for that.
Definitely. All right. And one more time, guys, if you would like, do you have the opportunity in the future, if you want to sign up where you can actually ask our guests some fabulous questions, right? Because, of course, you may have, come across something and you want to ask. If you're not in the conversation, you're not able to ask questions. We're also currently live on YouTube. I'm not able to see the questions, guys, but if you drop a note, I'll definitely get back to you. So, Sophia, one of the big things I hear people talk about is Airbnb business, and there's so many restrictions that are in the pipeline, but there are people that um, basically trying to increase their income or maximize their space or from Airbnb. So let's talk about it. What with the rise of Airbnb and short-term real estate in Jamaica, what business opportunities do you see emerge in the space, especially for local host or returning
So what
individuals?
I'm seeing is that a lot of persons are, a lot of realtors or brokers are looking into property management, right? So there are a lot of Airbnb offers in Jamaica, first of all. But if you are not able to physically manage that for yourself, there are a lot of real estate brokerages. They're now going into property management for a reasonable fee. One of the things I've also seen persons do is, if you're willing to establish a lease with someone that's into property management and you allow them the permission to sublease, so where they handle all of the restrictions or the management around the Airbnb, that's one option that you can explore as well. Maybe a little bit more risky in the sense that, this is not somebody that you may know, so you have to rely on their references and their experience. But if it's a lease with that person, you know that you're guaranteed your income. So whether or not they get rentals or Airbnb bookings, you at the end of the day still are gonna get your money at the end of the month. So that's one way to do it. Or just hire somebody who's going to manage your listing on your behalf. So they're responsible for the cleaning and taking care of the guests. What you have to be mindful of, if your intention is to do Airbnb, you have to find out what the strata body in the complex that you're buying to, what their views are on Airbnb. I know for the new builds, so the new properties that are coming in, they are very, everything is in black and white as it relates to Airbnbs. They're not very pro Airbnbs. But so you have to bear that in mind before you buy, because in Jamaica, our strata laws are very strict. I think the comparative is HOA. That's what they call them in
Yeah,
America.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
HOA,
So,
yes, yes.
so for us, we call it stratas, and some strata bodies are more active than others, especially in the more affluent communities, like in Richmond Estate, that's close to Ocho Rios.
Okay, I
There
was
are
going to ask you where is that because
Richmond and say that's in Ontario. Like, so they're very strict, right? So they're gonna be curious about who is coming in and who is leaving. But then you
Mhm.
have other areas like Fisherman's Point, that's also close to Ocho Rios, where the office management, they actually assist the owners with bookings. So if
Mm.
somebody only comes to the island, say 3 months out of the year, you can actually set up an arrangement with the office management where they actually manage the bookings for your apartment for you. So some complexes have that built into their offers. If you buy into that, you know that for sure you can get the benefit of the Airbnb or short-term rentals, right? So there is still opportunities there. You just have to do your research before buying.
Definitely. And on the other side, I also said you know you need to be careful in if you're looking to rent, right?
Yeah.
So making sure that, you know, whosoever you're renting from, you know, are legit. I don't know if
Exactly,
you want to
exactly.
touch
And
on that topic, Sophia.
yeah,
Yeah.
there are instances where it's like not like the unofficial property manager, they will go around and solicit rentals because they know that the owners are not going to be around. But obviously, that's a recipe for the disaster. So it's important to book with trusted realtors, official realtors, and not just some guy who says, "Oh, I'm responsible for this thing." Get the necessary paperwork. So nowadays, if you're gonna be renting through a realtor, the realtor has to see the title for the property to make sure that the person presenting themselves as the owner is actually the registered owner on the title. So all of that due diligence process, you don't have to do it yourself if you utilize the services of a realtor or if you're utilizing the services of an attorney to prepare your lease agreements for you.
Awesome. It was such a great time with you, Sophia. Always, you know, we'd like you to come in again and, you know, at a later time and talk because, you know, if the questions present themselves, you know, I'd like for you to answer it, you know, during
Absolutely.
our podcast. Now, you know, just to wrap up, tell the people how they can reach you and some of the things that you do and you can help them with.
Absolutely. So one of the things that I particularly help a lot of diaspora persons with is, they have family land in Jamaica, but their parents or their grandparents may have passed away and they can't figure out what to do. So we help them with the probate or estate administration process. And then we also help them to find buyers for the property if that's something that they don't want to do. And for persons who are looking to invest in Jamaica and they want to set up a trust for that asset protection element, we also offer support in that regard as well.
Awesome. Thank you. And how can they reach you?
Yes, so you can reach me at the lawbossfirm.com. So the lawbossfirm.com, we have a contact form there. Somebody will respond to you within 24 hours once you share your contact details and your questions.
Definitely, definitely. All right, another great episode, guys. One of the things I want to tell you about is what we call our inner circle or speaker circle, where we engage as it's particularly for women, women who are entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, that we could be a part of it. We could grow together, give you visibility, the opportunity to speak as experts, right? So if you are in any of those fields and you want to contact us, you see Nevalliance behind. That's the website. We're totally branded. It's all about branding and shining. Welcome to another episode of Global Business. We're here every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time. We're going to have some episode coming up on Saturdays as well. All right. Until next time. Bye.
Bye. It was a